and we're going to have to be at our best.
I know you're not a huge fan of talking about yourself. So let's start
That's true.
some of the people who have meant the most to you in this journey. I mean, maybe like for this game more than ever. Like, what's the significance of your parents being able to watch you play?
They've been so supportive over my entire career, and since I was a kid, my parents were enabled me to always try to be the best I could be and accomplish whatever I dreamed of. So, when I wanted to go to a big time Division I school in college, they were never like, oh, you sure? It was like, let's go for it. Let's be the best you could be. And when I was a kid and I wanted to go field ground balls at 8:00 at night after dinner with my dad, he was there in his shirt and, hit me ground balls and, trying to be, the best I could be at whatever sport I was playing. I wasn't the best student. I'll admit that. I was not looking to do extra homework at 8:00 at night. I would much rather be up at the baseball field, fielding ground balls. But, um, they're just an amazing, mom and dad that I have. And we've all been through a lot over the years, a lot of great, incredible moments for our family have been shared playing sports. And sports have meant a lot to our family. And we've dealt with obviously some difficult situations like every family. But, that's life. And we're a very close, tight-knit family. And my parents have been great examples for me, for my sisters to start our own families. And they're great grandparents too. So although I think my dad gives away a little too much sugar to my kids, but so grandparents too.
So everyone loved that moment after the championship game when you hugged your oldest son, Jack. Like, how does it feel to you to be able to look up in the stands and see him there and then share a moment like that?
It's the best. I mean, it's the best part of the whole day. So that's the moment. I kept looking up there. He's a great kid and just always just straight A, just wants to always do the right thing. But I'm there the whole day looking up, like waving at him, and he's like,
I saw you looking up there during the game, and I knew that wasn't just like a normal look. Like I figured one of your kids must be there.
he was up there, and I just kept trying to get his attention, and he was just, he's probably 40, 50 yards away, and he just doesn't want anyone to know that's my dad. So finally after the game, I saw him, and just he came down, and I gave him a big hug, and he was brave in there. Yeah, I called him on Friday, and I had, my friend was coming to the game with his son who's in the same class, and he said, I'd love to bring Jack. And I was like, I would love that. And I called Jack and I said, can you make it? And he says, I'd love to go. So I talked with his mom, and his mom said, yeah, go for it. And she said, I said, just make sure Jack really wants to go. It's going to be cold. So he was bundled up, and it was just ended up being just a great day for the two of us. And, he'll never forget being at Lambeau. And I made a comment, it's so special for me. I hope it's as special for him, just being there to watch, which was really cool.
For all your kids, obviously, it's dad's really good at his job. But what do you think they take away from the work ethic and the dedication?
Well, I always tell them that's what dads do. We go to work, and, we got to show up, and we got to find something we love to do, and find something you love to do, because you're going to work hard at it if you love it. And if you want to, you find something you love, you're going to work hard, you're going to be good at it. And if you're good at it, you're going to enjoy it, and I think for me, going to work has never felt difficult for me to do. I've loved doing what I've done, and my kids, I think, there's days where they wake up and I'm just not there. I'm not out of the house very early. And when the off season comes, I've really tried to make a concerted effort, certainly in the last 3 or 4 years, to spend more quality time with them and find a better balance during this off season that, maybe when I was younger, was still committed to obviously a lot of football, and that's important. And I want to make sure, but I just have to be more efficient with what I'm doing, because there's more things going on in my life, and my kids are getting older. My oldest son, Jack's 13. It's not like he's 5 years old anymore. And, my daughter's 8, my other son, Benny's 10. So they're getting older, and I want to be there for the important things going on in their life. And it's not always about what's going on in dad's life. It's what's going on in their life too. So I think part of being an older athlete, and I'm sure a lot of older athletes would feel that way, is that's the trickier part, is how do you balance and find time for a lot of things that are important to the other people that are in your life that really matter. And, my wife's so supportive of everything I do. She allows me to continue to fulfill my dream of playing football. And, she's been so great, being down here in Tampa and moving our family, and she's just been a great supporter of mine. So I'm very, very blessed.
Like any parent, do they get embarrassed? You do stuff that they get embarrassed by?
My kids,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I think there's certain things that dad does that isn't quite as cool as they would normally think. But I am still around a lot of kids, so I think I am pretty cool for 43. I mean, I'm with a lot of young kids, so I know kind of the right music to listen to and the right things to say.
Well, that leads to, Bruce Arians said at the beginning of the time with you that the thing that surprised him most was how you could relate to the young guys, and these are his words because some of them you could be their dad. What do you think it is about some players that holds them back from unlocking their full potential?
Well, that's a long answer to that question. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why people don't unlock their potential.
Because you coach these guys, you've really you've raised the level there with the Bucs, and you've coached them. So, like, what was principal for you?
Well, I think there's a lot of different things, and there's a lot of different issues with different players that I see over the years that I try to mentor people, whether it's a physical issue, whether it's, something with their training or their playing that needs help, whether it's a mental issue, their approach to how they have to do their job and what they need to do in order to do their job. And then the emotional issue, which is, how do you show up with a consistent, positive attitude to be the best you could be? And I think if those three things, you got to find the right balance in all those things. It's a very physical sport. It's a very mental sport. It's definitely not, this is a thinking man's sport. Football. This is not, this is not checkers. This is more chess, and it's very emotional. And over the course of 6 months, there's a lot of emotion you have because you're still living your life. This isn't like, oh, just put my life aside. This is your life. So I think mastering those three is what's really important. And some people struggle at different things. Some people struggle to learn, maybe talented physically, but never can maximize their potential because mentally they don't put enough work in, or emotionally they're too immature to ever realize what their potential could be. So they make poor decisions, and then poor decisions over time, of course, don't allow you to be the best you could be. So part of that, and again, being an older player, is to mentor people on what I think I see in them and what they can become themselves. It's still a really fun thing for me to be able to do.
Your example reached Patrick Mahomes. And when we interviewed him, he said that, he just so appreciates your sustained success. So after the championship game, the AFC championship game in 2018, you sought him out in his locker room. Why'd you do that?
Well, I think I'm just so impressed with Pat, as obviously a young player, but just, his, there's one thing about the physical skill, but also how endearing he is to his teammates. I could see there's a special quality about him that attracts the teammates to him. And he's a great leader, has great charisma. He just has everything it takes. And then hearing about him, Cliff Kingsbury, who I'm obviously very good friends with, Coach Pat, and had a lot of great stories about Pat. And I just kind of felt like I knew him a little bit. Didn't get a chance to talk to him much during the year. He had an incredible year that year, and I just wanted to make sure he knew that, I was, obviously, I don't know if the word's proud, but just wanted to let him know what kind of guy that I thought he was, not as a player and not just as a player, but as a person as well. And he's an exceptional player, obviously, but he looks to be an exceptional teammate. And the times that I've got to spend with him, he's got a maturity beyond his years, and he's going to be a great player in the NFL for a long time.
Do you look at him and kind of say, oh my gosh, like, you've got so many great years ahead of you? Like, is there any amount of envy, like, oh my gosh, like, what's ahead for him? It's amazing.
Yeah, no, I think that, it's all up to him. The reality is it's up to him, and no one, what his potential will be up to him. And, obviously he's had an incredible career to this point. In order to continue to do that, you got to make a lot of great choices. And he seems like the kind of guy that's going to make those great choices. And he's got a lot of support, and he's in a great place, and just very happy for him and his success.
So after this NFC Championship game, social media lights up. Tom Brady wins his 7th Super Bowl, and he's broken all these records. The records are shattered. What else does he have to prove? He's with a new team. Can you just explain to everybody what keeps you playing?
Well, I still feel like I'm a teenage kid, I'm still trying in my mind to, um, be the best I could be for myself. And I think for me, I've always felt, pretty strange when people compared me to different players. And when I was young, it was compare me to Peyton Manning, and then compare me to, other players as, whether it was Aaron Rodgers or Joe Montana or Steve Young or Troy Aikman or Dan Marino. And, for me, it's always been, those are incredible players. And I've always felt, did I do my best? Did I give my best? Did I give my all? And as long as I felt like I could do that, then that's where my satisfaction is. Because I really don't do it for anybody else. I really do it for my teammates, and I do it to prove to myself that I'm capable of doing it. And, why do I still do it? Because I love doing it, because I love the sport and I love the game and I love the preparation. I don't mind the practice. I love the practice. I love the working out and the training. I think some of the other things I don't like are all the things that come along with, a lot of the demands. That's probably, again, the harder thing for me is probably as an older athlete is, just making sure that I can be available to other people, because again, I'm not getting these years back. And certainly my kids is a big consideration.
So you feel really good? I mean, is it a stretch to say you're still on target for 45?
Yeah, I certainly hope so. And again, it's a contact sport, but I definitely like to keep going as long as I can.
That term "goat" gets thrown out there all the time. What would be your definition?
Of a goat? Uh, it's a good question. Again, I think there's a lot of incredible players, and it's just, I think that's when you bring that up, I think that it's about, everyone has different tastes for different things. It's like, I say, what's your favorite meal? Some people like steak, some people like chicken, some people like lasagna. I don't know. Some people like pizza. That's athletes. You know what I mean? It just depends what style you like at the end of the day. I think certainly you're here to accomplish, whatever you set out as an individual to play in a team sport. For me, I've always felt like the goal for me of playing was to win games and to do the best I could do, and never be the reason why we lost games. That's ultimately why, how I end up judging myself at the end of the year. So, again, everyone has different preference for who they like, and that's cool. To even be mentioned in consideration. I think last year was the 100th year of the league, and I got